A question I've been thinking about a lot recently is how do you build a one-person business in 2026? If you followed me last year or the year before, you know that one-person businesses were very popular and my videos on those did really well. So did anything change from those videos? AI is taking over everything. Agents, new features are launching literally every day on Twitter. What's changed? How do you actually use this stuff if you're going to use it? And just what does the one-person business landscape look like now? So to get straight to the point and answer the question, how do you build a one-person business in 2026? You do the same thing that you would have done before, but now you use AI to enhance that process, right? You don't really need a course or a coach anymore, although those things are still valuable because there's specific knowledge that you probably wouldn't think to look up with AI or even do with AI, and the AI probably isn't going to give you that out of the box. So courses are still going to be a thing. Coaching is still going to be a thing just because the default response of the AI usually isn't that good. Getting specific knowledge from the source of someone who's done something is still superior. And if it costs 25 to 100 to 200 bucks, big whoop. So to build a business with AI, you just implement AI in the correct places so that you can do things faster, with higher quality, and without less guesswork. AI in this sense is a catalyst to avoid a lot of trial and error. So you can still build a business the old way, that's fine. It'll just take a bit longer, especially if you're not a person who is high agency or knows how to iterate or refine or not just accept the output of AI as law. So what will you still do to build a one-person business? You will still generate traffic, you still write content, you still write emails or newsletters, you still create a product or service, you still create a customer avatar, you still formulate a compelling offer, you still build a landing page, you still write persuasive copy for that page, you still put the offer in front of people and see if they buy, and then you iterate from there after all of that. Now that's a lot of stuff, right? As a one-person business, you are the marketing department, you are the sales department, you're the product lead, you're the project manager, you're the content writer, you're the social media strategist. You have to learn so many things and you have to become a generalist. Even though people tell you to niche down, you still need the general skills to build the business. But that's just the thing. Before AI, social media was the technology that allowed such a one-person business to exist. But you could create a comfortable lifestyle business. You couldn't build some crazy, insane, super high revenue business. You would eventually have to hire a team. The thing there is that the bar has been raised as to how much you can make because you can do more as one person with AI, but the barrier of entry to starting a one-person business is now lower than ever. Anyone can do it, right? You can ask AI, hey, help me build a one-person business. Hey, this agent, go and write content every day for me and spam every platform. So anyone can try to build a one-person business, meaning there's more competition, but most people don't try beyond a certain point. 95+% of people hit one failure and then quit altogether. And then the other people that don't want to learn, they download something like OpenClaw and buy a Mac Mini and start running all of these agents to do things for them. But then you look at them 2-3 months from then, and they have nothing to show for it. They just like looking at an agent doing things and they don't understand what quality is. They don't understand when something doesn't work, you change it. They don't understand that spamming every single platform, that doesn't mean you're gonna grow on social media. That doesn't mean you're gonna make any sales either. When I actually talk to a few other of my business friends, some very high up in the business world, they try that stuff. They try the OpenClaw, and I'm not saying that it's bad at all. We're actually introducing a very similar feature where you can chat with an agent on Telegram into Eden, which is a software that we're building. It's in beta. You can sign up if you'd like. But what I'm saying is that most people just get a dopamine hit from it. They have this curve where it's like, oh, this is so awesome. I'm going to have it do everything. They waste $200, $300, $1,000 on AI credits. And then it collapses and then they have nothing because they don't know what good looks like. They don't have the skill or the knowledge to do the thing in the first place. So how are they going to be the manager or the CEO of the agents? Now, with that rant out of the way, for the sake of this letter, we're going to set the goal of $1 million. making $1 million with a one-person business, just so we can frame it, right? I'm not saying you're going to make that. I'm not saying you're going to make anything. There's no amount of knowledge that I can just give you right now that will immediately make you $1 million. It doesn't work like that. Stop looking for videos like that. So we're just using the $1 million goal to make this tangible so we can actually break it down. I'm going to share exactly what you need to learn, how to use AI almost better than everyone else, and prompts that'll give you that will allow you to really start your business today if you actually go through the prompts, which most people won't take the time to do that because it'll take about an hour to go through all of them. They're that comprehensive. Now, as a note, before we get started, we're not going over crazy agent workflows here. We're just going over normal AI use. And I know that sounds boring, but you need to learn the fundamentals before you can actually get into the crazy AI agent stuff, which we'll talk about in a future video if you'd like that. Like, comment, subscribe. So section 1 of this video, how do you actually make $1 million as one person? Because to a lot of people, that just sounds insane. And we need to break this down because you need to at least believe it's possible before you can do it. And a lot of the people that don't believe it's possible will fall off of the video right now. So quick math, let's do this. $1 million divided by 12 months is $83,333 per month. That number divided by 30 days is $2,777 per day. Now there's a few ways to actually achieve that per day or per month. You can sell 18 $150 products a day, like a course or whatever other product can cost $150. You can sell 111 $25 subscriptions a day. So if you're starting on Substack, that's something you could do. Or you could go the freelance route and land one $5,000 client every other day, which is a pretty high price point for just starting out in freelancing, but it illustrates the point. If you go the coaching or consulting route or just service-based business in general, you can land one $10,000 client every 4 days, or you can have a combination of both. So like 1 to 2 clients a week and a few other product or subscription sales a day, or just whatever other combination and price point there is to hit $1 million. Now, if you go the client route, I recommend doing that as a beginner because some people still don't believe this. This was a limiting belief for myself as well. It just feels weird charging such high prices, especially if you work. When I worked at a web design agency, I was making like $60,000 a year, which isn't insanely good, isn't insanely bad. It's not that great. I was still living with 4 other people, paying a very low rent. I still felt like I had money problems, even as like a single person at the time. But it's much easier to sell a $1,000 to $5,000 service to one person than it is to sell 100 to 200 Substack subscriptions to 100 to 200 people, because where are you going to find those people and how are you going to convince them? That's what the social media audience is for, or other traffic mechanisms. But you absolutely can send 100 DMs today, ask AI how to send a good DM, and if you have a decent offer that people want, they may be willing to pay you. And if you aren't a business owner, you may not understand that yet because you don't understand that businesses want to grow. And if you can help them grow or make more money, they're going to want to pay you. The amount of people that I have hired for $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 after starting a business is absurd. But if the ROI is there, the ROI is there. So as a beginner, you don't really have an audience yet, and you may not be building one, but that's what I recommend doing as well, because that's also going to prove that you know what you're talking about when you reach out to clients. They're probably going to look at your social media profiles, and building an audience is leverage. So why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you write content? And once you're writing content, once you're actually growing, then if you want to transition out of client work into something like a product that can sell while you sleep, so to say, based on the traffic that you generate, then you'd go to the product route. So the question there with the product route, because that's usually most people's goal, is like, I don't want to do client work. I hated client work, but it was a necessary step for me. But when you go the product route, how do you actually get enough traffic to the product so that you can make that many sales to make $1 million? So let's do more math. At a 2.5% conversion rate on a landing page, meaning 2.5% of the people that go to the landing page actually buy the thing that you're selling, you need about 720 people to visit that page a day to make 18 sales on a $150 product. Or you need something like a post to go viral once or twice a month, which I wouldn't bet on, but is becoming more and more of a thing as the social media platforms are becoming more interest algorithm related, right? Really anyone, even if you're just starting off, if you can create good content, you can post your first reel, it'll go mega viral. But most people don't know how to create content, so that's usually not going to happen unless it's based on luck. So the bet that I like to take is continuously building an audience, putting out content, iterating, refining, and improving your skill over time so that your audience growth kind of reflects the growth of your skill. So getting 720 people to a landing page a day to make $1 million, where does that actually come from? It can come from social media. It can come from ads like Facebook ads or Google ads. It can come from SEO. It can come from influencer partnerships. It can come from podcast sponsorships, newsletter sponsorships. It can really come from anything, but you are one person. And if you're like I was when I first started out, you don't have that much money and you don't want to spend that much money. So what are you going to do? You're going to do social media, and you're going to get really good at capturing attention, delivering value, delivering substance, not just copying templates, not just following the trends, but getting very good at what you do and showing other people that you're good at what you do. So if we assume that you start on social media, you start writing content and you become skilled at that thing and you continue to refine your skill, that means you're not stagnating, you're constantly learning. It's actually a baked in portion of your day of studying other people's content, implementing what you learn in your own, and improving over time. Because social media, yes, it's a skill. It's not completely based on luck. It's partially based on luck for actually growing, like getting the traction started. Once you have a base audience, then you have a base level of engagement and you're more likely to go viral over time. So you have to get through that beginner hell, but you absolutely can. So if you become skilled at it, then you can get 10 to 50,000 views per YouTube video. And you can also get 500,000 to 1 million impressions on social media per month. And yes, it will take some time to do that if you're not immediately good at the thing. Shocker, you actually have to get good at something in order to see results. Crazy. You can't just go to a school, get a degree in social media and immediately have 50,000 followers. No, this is based on real world feedback. This is based on skill. But the thing there is even if you don't get 10 to 50,000 YouTube views or 500,000 to 1 million impressions, even less than that, it's not like you're making $0 if you actually do this stuff. Many people would be very happy with less than $1 million per year. So if you think about it, you need 720 people a day to the landing page. And if you're getting that many impressions, 720 people is a challenge for sure, but it's not too much to ask for. Now, the objections in your mind that are probably happening right now of like, oh, I can't do this. Oh, this sounds unfeasible. It's because you're probably stuck in the old paradigm. You're stuck in the my time equals how much I earn rather than how much I earn equals the value that I provide. If the only life you've known is go to school and get a job, then that is your mindset. That's what you are wired to believe. That's what you're wired to do. If you want to make more money, you have to get a better job or you have to get better schooling. You don't understand that if you're an entrepreneur, you hunt for your better job. You hunt for your gigs. You hunt for your customers and you self-educate. You don't need to go to an institution to get a credential in order for someone to hire you. It's all in your own hands. And that's a great thing for many people who actually want that. But a lot of people aren't willing to deal with the uncertainty that comes with that. So that's another skill that you have to learn, is just tolerating and mitigating the risk of starting a business. So to actually get started on this stuff, it takes about 2 to 5 years to get really good at those things, at branding, at content, at marketing, at sales, at all of these things. But with AI, if we train them on the principles of experts who willingly put out their knowledge on the internet, like Alex Hormozi, sales expert, marketing expert. You have so many different people that talk about branding, about content, so on and so forth. Why can't you take that knowledge and then have the AI help you through that process? And that's kind of what we're going to do for the first step when we actually use AI. So let's actually get into it. How do you actually build the one-person business with AI, and what's the entire workflow? So as you know by now, the core difference between starting a one-person business a few years ago and now is just AI. An entire course can fit into a prompt. And if a prompt helps you actually do the thing, then that's like a course on steroids because you're actually getting results potentially. So for this specifically, we're going to go over a Canvas template. A Canvas is a feature in Eden that we polished up, we've made pretty freaking good at this point. And this is where I do like my weekly writing, right? So every week I create a canvas, I paste tweets on there, I paste YouTube videos that inspired me. I put a markdown document for my outline, for my newsletter. I put my prompts on there for like social posts and for title generation for YouTube and for B-roll ideas. And then I connect things to AI chat to stress test ideas or just talk to the specific content. Like if I watched a YouTube video that week and I knew an idea was in there, then I'd talk to it. Then I'd go to my newsletter, open that and start writing again. But we're going to use an entire one-person business canvas, and you can duplicate the template in the description with the link. And I'd highly recommend working through this on a desktop because that's where you're going to do work and you're not going to be distracted. And Canvas apps in general just aren't very good on mobile. So if you save the link on your phone and then go back to it on desktop, and then you can save all of those files, duplicate it, because Eden is also a drive and a workspace, so you can write. It's not just a canvas. Anything you upload, including YouTube videos, regular videos, we analyze all of the frames for you so you can search for each frame, transcript match, so on and so forth. It's pretty cool. But if you follow the template exactly, you will have the 3 pillars of a modern, successful one-person business. Or if it's not immediately successful, which it probably won't be, don't expect that, you have a starting point that you can actually start doing things, and it's not a guessing game anymore. And those 3 pillars that you'll have are: 1, a brand, which is who you are, what you help people achieve, and why people should care about both. 2 is content, so your ideas, opinions, and teachings that attract people to your brand. 3 is offer, so your product, service, and compelling landing page you can send people to from your content. Now, I want this to be a bit educational as well, so we're going to go through each of these pillars: brand, content, and offer / what you sell, just so you understand the importance of these things. So inside of the template, 1, there's an entire video here that you can click and watch, and I go over how to use the entire template. But the first thing we're starting with is just a personal brand strategy. And what I have here, you can see another person on here because the template is shared, but you can see that there's a prompt here connected to an AI chat. I can full screen this AI chat, or I can just zoom into it and start typing here. But we'll talk about what's actually in here. But if you also want to consult with experts, I've curated 3 videos, and these are all connected to this chat. So I can chat in here to refine my personal brand strategy, ask questions about personal branding, so on and so forth. And you can also paste video links or just upload your own knowledge inside of this section. But as one person on social media, you're starting a personal brand. That's what you're doing. Why are you doing that? Because if you want to make money, you need something to sell and people to actually see and buy that thing. A personal brand is neither of those things, but you can think of it as a sort of digital storefront or a digital resume. It's a layer of trust between those 2 things. It's where your content goes under because you post via a personal brand. And then inside of your content, you promote your product or service. And since people follow your personal brand and hopefully they like your personal brand, then they're more likely to be receptive to your content and purchase your product or service. And in the age of AI, when content is it can be endless and it's going to be flooding social media, what are people going to turn to? They're going to turn to who they trust. Who is that? A personal brand who they can almost verify is a human, and they can tell whether or not they're using AI in a non-tasteful way. And another thing here is I don't care about how cringe you think the word personal brand is. I understand that every space has gotten flooded with it. And, you have to use these templates. You have to use this strategy. Here's how you grow to 1 million followers in 0 days. But that's what you're doing when you're one person on social media. So get over it. If it helps you to think of a personal brand as just like a vessel for your life's work or a way to do something meaningful, or if you just want to think of yourself as a person on social media and not a brand, then go ahead and do that. And now we've discussed my actual personal brand strategy and what I recommend in many other videos. So we're going to keep this brief. This is my recommended strategy, not the only strategy or one that you have to follow for social media. The first principle is that you are the niche. Your beliefs, experiences, and interests give you a unique point of view that reflects in your content and products. Principle 2 is that you need a few content pillars. You need 1 skill or interest you plan to monetize as a topic, and then 2 complementary interests that you can't shut up about as complementary topics. Principle 3 is that you need to ground those content pillars in pain points, foundational content topics, and high-performing ideas. This is where most people mess up, is they're like, okay, I like these topics, I have this idea, I'm just going to write about it. But they don't pay attention to why it's important to the actual person on the other side of the screen. They write this frilly tweet and they think they're Marcus Aurelius, but you don't have the reputational authority that Marcus Aurelius has. You're not Alan Watts. You're not these people who have this reputation built up so that anything they say is valuable. You have to practice persuasion. You have to capture attention. You have to illustrate, hey, why is this idea important for my life? And that usually comes in the form of a pain point. So helping people understand why they should implement the idea. Foundational content topics are just those that are like evergreen. They're the ones that you know work. They're the ones that you see everywhere, and you should probably implement under your own brand in your own voice because they just work. And then high performing topics are the outliers that tend to do very well. When you go on YouTube and you see a video that's just doing so much better than everyone else's videos or even that person's own videos, that's an outlier. That's a signal that you should probably take note of that and put it in your swipe file in Eden, paste the YouTube link in Eden, and we download it, transcribe it, so on and so forth, so that you can talk with it with AI, or the entire folder of your swipe file, or all of the images that you've saved, so on and so forth. Eden's very cool. Please catch on and use it already. But you save those, and then you take your own ideas and you start to like reformulate them so that they work better. Now, principle 4 is that you need to turn all of that into a 1 to 2 sentence social media bio that gets across the most attractive parts. I'm not going to go over a social media bio format, but if you go through the personal brand strategy prompt in the canvas here, then it will help do that for you. And after you finish this, it'll interview you for a decent amount of time, and then it will spit out the actual personal brand strategy that you can save in your workspace in a folder or in other places, and you can refer to often. Another thing you can do in the near future, when we have the OpenClaw/Telegram agent, this is only on my branch. This looks a lot more styled and better, but you can send this to Telegram and then you can just have the AI bounce ideas back and forth with you, or have it actually do things like access your Twitter and post content or schedule content. So inside of the canvas and outside of the canvas, how do you actually use AI to create a personal brand better? The first thing is you can curate expert information and have a conversation with it. As an example, you could find YouTube videos or books from people who are certified experts and add those to a chat rather than asking for a general AI's opinion, because AI works best when you know what you want. That's really the simplest one. And then, as I've talked about before, the second and more complex one is to take that expert information, break it down into a simplified guide that you'll be able to give to the AI. It's like, I can take a piece of content, or I can take this guy's personal brand strategy, and then I can ask AI to turn it into a guide, so it removes all of the fluff from that. And then you can turn that into whatever kind of prompt you want. That's what I did for the prompt on the canvas, but I did it with my own personal brand strategy. Now, the type of prompt that you can create is spitting out a blueprint or acting as a coach. I could say, hey, take this guide and let's turn it into a prompt that first asks for information from me so that it knows what kind of personal brand I actually want to create. And then after that context gathering phase and interview phase, just coach me day by day into doing this. Make sure I write content, make sure I have my bio set up, make sure I report back to you, so on and so forth. You can just turn it into a coach or another person that holds you accountable. And if you do this inside of something like an agent or custom agent in Eden, when that's ready, you can set a specific schedule for this to happen. So it can send you a prompt, like you can send a prompt at a certain time so that, let's say, it reaches out to you to give you a source of inspiration and tell you to turn that into a post that you then refine with it, and then it can post directly to Twitter. So that's a more tasteful way of using AI rather than just saying, hey, go and write all this shit content for me. And I'll probably go over that in a future video or newsletter. So subscribe to my Substack if you want to get that. So that's starting a personal brand. Go through the prompt, refine it, study it. The second thing is, how do you actually write content that is better than most beginners? How do you stand out? I've been doing this for a while. I've been writing content for maybe 6 to 7 years now. I can read a tweet or look at a YouTube title or watch a YouTube video or read an article, and I can know whether or not it's going to do well, just because my pattern recognition has gotten to that point. And we've talked about this before, but the biggest problem beginners make is not illustrating the importance of the idea they are trying to convey. They have interesting ideas, but they can't make it interesting to other people. Now, in order to make an idea interesting to someone else, you need to provide a compelling why. You need to give them a reason to change their behavior. Because if you're the one who changes their behavior, they will remember you as the person who, quote unquote, changed their life, and they will start to trust you over any human or AI. In other words, the secret to writing content is to 1, have a good idea, and 2, have a pain point it solves or a benefit it gives, and you need to illustrate that reason well. The best way to understand this, or to just do this in general, is if you're reading something and you have an idea, or you're reflecting on your life and you have an idea that you know you want to post, right? That's kind of how creators act, is they're just constantly turning ideas into something that they can post. It's just automatic for them to have an idea and immediately write it down. But what you do during that step as well is think of what's a pain point or a benefit of this that helps other people or that people actually want. And then you have to bake that into the idea. Now, the second mistake that beginners make is that they just don't understand how everything fits together. They get good at writing content or creating reels on social media, but they feel like it's pointless because they don't know how to make money from it. So at that point, they start catering to the algorithm or just having AI do everything for them just so they can get the dopamine hit of likes and engagement, but still they don't know how to monetize, and they don't realize that doing that decreases their ability to monetize well. Or they do it just to game the platform monetization system. Like, I have a few million followers and subscribers, and on Instagram, if I were to just go with the Reels bonus that you get, I'd get like $300 to $500 a month. On Twitter, I think I get maybe like 2,000 now, which isn't bad. On YouTube, I get around 10,000 a month. And that's for someone with millions of followers. Sure, I could like live off of that if I really wanted to, but I have businesses to run. I need to make a lot more money in order to build something valuable. So that means that I have to sell my own product or service, and then I can make 10 to 20x that amount. And if you're thinking of accepting sponsors or brand deals from someone, why wouldn't you just create your own version of it and then take all of the profits? And you'd probably create it better in a way that better suited you. That's like how you start a good business nowadays, especially with a personal brand, is you take something that you use and you love and you make it better and tailor it to yourself. And since you are the niche, then you sell it to other people like you, and you can find that tribe. Now, since this isn't an entire course on content, even though I'll probably run a workshop at some point live on my Substack. So again, subscribe to Substack. But for now, I'll just give you the 80-20 of what to do. First is just write down ideas like crazy. Read more books, listen to podcasts, reflect on your life, and try to catch ideas that are unique and beneficial. 2 is to immediately think of a pain point or benefit. Train your mind to think of why this idea is important to more than just yourself. And then 3, save ideas that you like the structure of. Have a folder in Eden where your ideas live. And as a beginner, imitate the structure or framework of these with your own ideas as the topic. Then you simply practice writing until it becomes second nature. Now, when it comes to where you should post, you could just start with like a newsletter and a short form platform, or only start on Substack, or only start on Twitter and post both tweets and articles. But this is kind of my entire content ecosystem in a nutshell. I write the newsletter every week. That can splinter into posts, and then the best post can be used as like a carousel or the script for a short or a reel. The newsletter turns into a YouTube video, and then all of that just feeds back into each other. If you want to understand that as a whole, I'll leave another link in the description about the content ecosystem that you can look at. Okay, so how do you actually use AI to make this process easier? So if we look inside of the content section here, you can see 2 prompts for tweets, or these can just be considered posts because tweets are like the lowest common denominator, where if you have a 280 character tweet that can really go to any platform or be used as the hook for a reel or whatever it is, I recommend getting really good at crafting tweet style posts first, because that will impact all of your other short form content. And then for a newsletter, this can also double as a podcast script or a YouTube script or whatever you'd like. Now, the way that you use AI well here, and the way that I created these prompts for you, is I first took tweets or posts that I really liked, and then I plugged them into AI and I said, hey, break down exactly why these work. What are the principles here? What are the psychological tactics? Just teach me how to write these style of tweets. And then I took that and I turned it into a prompt, and I refined it a bit so that the output was decent. So here, in order for this prompt to work, you can just type a topic into this AI chat, or you can paste reference content here. So newsletters that you've written or newsletters that you've liked or YouTube videos, you can paste it outside of this actual document and connect it to this chat, and it will generate potential tweet drafts that you can refine and make it sound like you. Or you can start with the newsletter that you would post once a week on something like Substack, and you run through this. This is based off of my own structure and how I write, so there's a lot of knowledge. I would recommend just reading this prompt, and you'll probably get an entire course worth of information. But here, if you want it to sound a bit more like you can paste previous reference writing that you've had, or if you want it to emulate someone else's voice, so you can start refining your own, because this provides just a starting point, a prototype that you can work from, then consider doing that. And if you need help or just have questions, you can plug any of the outputs into this chat or any other chat, and you can branch things off like this. But in this section right here, you can ask like, okay, how do I make this tweet better? How do I actually write? You can just ask questions to these videos or paste other videos in here if you'd like. So how you use AI with content isn't to just like write it and post it for you. It's to learn and understand faster. It's to see a post on social media, take that post, plug it into AI and say, hey, why does this work? And if I have this related idea, how can I take the principles from this social post that did extremely well and apply it to my own? And then after doing that over time, it's like you're not taking a course to learn the principles, you're just learning them by doing, because AI is so integrated with our workflows nowadays that that's just how you do things now. And the same can be applied to something like a landing page. If you're going to create a product or service, then why would you just try to write the landing page yourself without learning anything first? Like normally you could take a course, but most people aren't going to do that either. But now you can find a landing page from someone that you like, that you know their stuff is working well, and you can just tell the AI to teach you how it works and then help you write your own landing page like that. So that leads into section 3 of this video. We had brand, content, and now we need product, offer, service, or just what you sell in general. So to reiterate that, so far you have a few pieces of the one-person business equation. First, you have a brand that illustrates your values and attracts the right kind of people. And number 2, you have content that slowly builds trust over time and allows you to reach more people. Simply put, you have people whose trust grows in you over time. And most businesses could only wish for that. Too many people try to build businesses nowadays and they don't actually try to get customers. They're like, I'm going to build this software, I'm going to build this thing. They're really motivated, but then when it comes time to actually do the business stuff, they're gone. Now, this section of the video actually makes me kind of mad because I spent like 5 years learning this stuff, doing it all manually. And now that AI is a thing, oh, it's so much easier. It's so like you get to shortcut all of the process, but I don't take that for granted because I still have all of the knowledge and pattern recognition that would allow me to do it better than another person. So you're still building that along the way, and it's going to take you 2 to 5 years to actually reach the point of being able to like masterfully do all of this stuff. But you can start off on a great page by doing what we're going to talk about. Because in today's world, you can have AI do most of this for you if you know how to train the AI to use frameworks and knowledge from great marketers, salesmen, and copywriters. So like I said before, right, you can take knowledge from an expert person, or you can take what they've done, like a social post that did really well. You can pop that into AI, ask it to break down why this works, or teach me how to do it, or turn it into a guide. And then you can turn that thing into a prompt, which is what I did for you. But since I understand all of the moving pieces, these prompts are very comprehensive. So we have prompts for 3 things, but it helps to just know what we're doing here. First, we need to create a detailed customer avatar. This is something you'll keep safe and reference often whenever you're creating marketing materials. You need to save this somewhere like in your workspace. 2 is you create your first offer. So using your customer avatar and offer creation principles, you create a product or service that they can't resist. And then 3, you turn both into compelling landing page draft, because most people create a boring product and then just illustrate what the product does on their landing page and wonder why nobody wants it. So when you go through these 3 prompts, they're going to interview you extensively, and then they're going to spit out a customer avatar, an irresistible offer blueprint, and then a landing page copy that act as first drafts that you can iterate on and ask questions to here by popping them into this chat, or just creating a new chat and chatting with them. Now, the way this is structured is when you run through the customer avatar generator, the context of this chat plugs into this chat because you need your customer avatar information when you're creating an irresistible offer. and then your irresistible offer and customer avatar plug into this, the landing page generation prompt, because how else are you going to write copy to a specific customer avatar about your offer, right? Now, one thing I would recommend during this section is just make sure you actually open the outputs of these. You can open things in a pane in Eden. So I can open this up here and I can edit it and look through it just to make sure everything is good, right? This is also like where I do my writing and all of that stuff. But make sure it's good, make sure it didn't hallucinate, because you're still having to baby the AI here. But a final note here is that I can't guarantee that this is going to 100% work. It's the same thing with courses, the same thing with anything. Like knowledge products or knowledge, giving out knowledge doesn't guarantee a result like a product or service does. And even product or services, like physical products or services, don't even guarantee results. You get a skincare product and it may work for you. It may help your skin. But if you don't address the underlying root cause of what's causing you not to get results, regardless of the skincare product or the knowledge that you have, then you're probably not going to succeed. Some people just don't have the identity. They haven't done the inner work to overcome their fear of uncertainty or failure. They haven't done all of these things. There's so many different moving variables, and one little piece of knowledge isn't going to save you. This has to be a lifelong journey of wanting it. And another thing is that AI, frankly, still, and probably for the foreseeable future, isn't that good yet. It just can't do these things for you. It's missing something, and we don't know what that something is. It's definitely not more intelligence. Once people can open OpenClaw or another agent thing and make hundreds of thousands of dollars the next day, which is probably going to be impossible at any given moment, because that's not how the market works. That's just like a commodity. If anyone can do it immediately, then it's not going to work. If it works for a small period of time, then that's called an exploit, and it's going to be squashed really fast. You will still have to learn. You will still have to practice. And most importantly, you will still have to iterate when something doesn't work until it does work. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope those prompts help you a lot. I hope you learn something, and I hope you continue to learn something, because the learning in this video actually happens by doing the prompts and implementing them. So that's the video. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments. Devin checks the comments, so say hi to Devin while you're down there and he'll hit you with a little heart or a like. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.